Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Young Hero Rants. Today we are going to be talking about MisAnthroPony. Now, full disclosure, I actually know this guy, I follow him on Twitter, and I've talked to him a few times in the past, and I've always seen him as a calm, mature, level-headed, and rational person. So, to see how he's been acting recently has given me a lot of cause for concern. Now, as all of you know, there has been a lot of controversy surrounding The Last of Us Part 2, primarily because of the direction Naughty Dog went with in terms of the story. It is, without a doubt, one of the most divisive video games I've seen in the last decade or so. It's pretty much the video game equivalent of The Last Jedi. It's very divisive. Some people like it in spite of the interesting direction Naughty Dog decided to go with in terms of the story, and other people don't like it because of the interesting direction Naughty Dog decided to go with in terms of the story, and MisAnthroPony is one of them. Now, this rant isn't about how he doesn't like the game and how he is expressing his opinion, because he is entitled to his opinion just like everybody else is. This rant is about how he went about expressing his opinion and how he essentially attacked anyone that bothered to genuinely like the game. So, yeah, this is going to be a very interesting episode, to say the least. So, let's just rip this band-aid off and get straight into it, shall we? No piece of fictional entertainment should make you so angry that you are willing to stoop down to the level of insulting people purely because they like something you don't like. I'm not going to begrudge you for having an opinion, and I'm not going to begrudge you for not liking the game. You can dislike whatever you want to dislike, but you have to understand that there are going to be people that have differing opinions than you, and that's okay. That's something you just gotta learn to deal with. For example, I think that Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is just okay, in that the only remarkable things about it are its visual style and its remarkably breathtaking animation. But I'm not gonna go out of my way and insult people that do like it, because I can acknowledge that it's a well-made film, and that there was a lot of love, care, and attention to detail put into it. I'll give you another example. I don't like Ghostbusters 2016, and I think it's a god-awful piece of shit. But I'm not going to go out of my way to insult people that like Ghostbusters 2016, because I understand that there are a lot of people who genuinely like that film. Opinions are like assholes. Everyone has them. I just don't understand what the point is of getting into petty arguments with people on Twitter purely because they like a video game you don't like. It's so unproductive, and it's such a waste of time, and it's just dumb and inconsequential, and not to mention unprofessional. This is an incredibly poor way to conduct yourself online, and it's an incredibly poor way to present an opinion, because people aren't going to see your point of view if you're acting like a dick. Like I said before, I don't begrudge you for having an opinion, and I don't begrudge you for disliking this game, but you can do that without taking this combative approach and having this smug, my opinion is the only one that matters, fuck you. If you don't think the same as me, you're an idiot, you're a moron, blah 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 blah. This is honestly the same kind of shit that Lily Pete would do. And I don't throw that comparison around willy-nilly. I'm making that comparison because Lily is well known for having a smug and egotistical, my shit doesn't stink attitude, to the point where she genuinely believes that her opinion is the only one that matters, and that everyone else is wrong. Now, I'm not going to go as far as to say that you are the male equivalent of Lily Pete, but in those tweets that I just showcased, you were certainly acting like it. And it's disappointing because I know that you are so much better than that, and it's just... I'm not going to turn this into a Lily Pete rant, but it goes without saying that Lily Pete is exactly the kind of person nobody should aspire to be in any way, shape, or form. So the fact that you were falling under that exact same track and acting like that is just... I'm at a loss for words. I'm speechless. I don't know what else can say other than it's stupid and downright idiotic. All of this is bad enough, but it gets even worse when you realize that he didn't even play the game. And I can prove that he didn't play the game because he admitted it in a tweet. I didn't buy it, I just watched the cutscenes on YouTube. Even better, I only saw the 3 scenes I needed: Joel's death, Banjo's sex scene, and the ending. You're going to fucking die, she says. Sorry about the time you used to watch it then, lol. Wait a minute. Did you actually play the game itself? It is a game after all. I said the plot, not the gameplay. And if you want further evidence that he didn't even play this game, he literally admits to it in the first few minutes of his video on The Last of Us Part 2.
I can already tell there's a bunch of people watching this and going, "Oh, but you can't review this game if you didn't buy it and test out the gameplay." Now, while it is true that I haven't tested out the gameplay of The Last of Us Part 2, I did take the time to watch the cutscenes. And considering that The Last of Us was a game driven solely by its story, I think it's a safe bet that I can use that to determine how thoroughly disgusting and offensive this game is, and why it deserves to be hated by everyone. The Last of Us Part 2 is the most emotionally manipulative, poorly paced, terribly written, retcon-infested, plot-contrived, character-assassinating, ass-pulling, and disrespectful continuation of a beloved series that disregards everything people loved about the original that I've ever had the misfortune of experiencing. And I sat through the Star Wars sequel trilogy. It's an ungodly mess of a plot that actively goes against good character and storytelling for the sake of meeting a feminist social justice warrior agenda, much like the Star Wars sequel trilogy. And today we're here to talk about why. So let's take a look at this abortion of a video game and find out how The Last of Us Part 2 is worse than you think.
So let me get this straight. You went on this massive tirade attacking anyone who genuinely liked The Last of Us Part 2, and you went out of your way to make an overly long and, quite frankly, unnecessary video about why The Last of Us Part 2 is so terrible and why the story doesn't work, and you didn't even play it? That is completely insane. You can't do that. You literally cannot do that. Can you imagine if the Nostalgia Critic did a review of a movie and he completely tore it to shreds, and then in the first few minutes he admitted that he didn't even watch the movie and he just read the plot synopsis off of Wikipedia and based his review on that? Could you imagine that? I can, because if the Nostalgia Critic even dared to do that, you, Map, would be calling his ass out for critiquing a movie that he hadn't even watched, and rightfully so, because you can't critique a movie if you haven't even watched it, and you cannot critique a video game if you haven't even played it. Period. I don't care if it's a story-based game or a gameplay-based game. You cannot review a video game if you haven't played it, because when you critique a video game you haven't even played, you're not going to be able to give a fair critique, and the viewing audience isn't going to get a fair critique. I can't call this a review. I can't call this a critical analysis. Hell, I can't even call it a video essay, because it's neither of those things. Because in order for it to be either one of those things, he would have actually had to have played the game in full, and then give his opinion on why it doesn't work based on that. Let's just call it for what it is. That entire video was just a rant. An incredibly long rant at that. It's what I'm doing right now, and it's just like... It's maddening. Like, look, if you want to rant about a video game you haven't even played, fine, go right ahead, you can do whatever you want, but could you at least have the decency to not make it an hour and 29 minutes? It's just unnecessary and pointless. You could have summed up the criticisms in about 25 to 30 minutes, or better yet, just saved everybody the trouble and the time and just not made the video at all. You say that this video had weeks of work put into it, but I honestly don't see that. In my opinion, I think you only put this video out to capitalize on the controversy while it was still relevant, just so you could get some easy clicks. This is such a lazy way of critiquing a video game, and it's just pathetic. I don't know what else I can really say to summarize how dumb and stupid this is. Like, holy shit. Like, I understand that your passion is real, and I understand that you were disappointed by the story, but I believe that this severely undermines your credibility as a reviewer, because how the hell can you possibly expect anyone to take anything that you say seriously when you go out of your way to admit that you hadn't even played the thing that you are talking about? That literally makes no sense whatsoever. Normally it's my job to talk about things that annoy me and to talk about things that don't work, but I'm truly at a loss for words. I don't know what else I can say, because this entire situation is just absolutely insane. Normally I would just end the video here, but it gets even worse than that, because his insatiable desire for attacking people that he doesn't like goes way further than these recent incidents surrounding The Last of Us Part 2. We, of course, have to mention his nemesis, so to speak, the nostalgia critic.
And Mom, there's a lot of people out there who don't associate Christmas with the best stuff. Maybe they're spending it alone, or maybe they associate it with a bad time. What can you say to people out there who are not having such a good Christmas?
This is the time of year to reach out to someone else who is lonely or is having a hard time, and do something nice for them, because when you do that, you will feel less lonely inside of yourself as well. It's a perfect time of year to do something for somebody else and think of others.
That's really nice, Mom. Thanks so much. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas! Merry Christmas!
Let's watch it again.
At the end of the Nostalgia Critic's review of the Nutcracker 3D, he included a video of his mom talking about Christmas because his mom had recently passed away. And how does MisAnthroPony respond to this?
Now, before anyone goes out and says that MisAnthroPony is not attacking anybody, just explaining why somebody shouldn't watch Doug, he said this on Twitter. Person whose identity I'll respectfully try to keep anonymous says, I watched the latest Nostalgia Critic episode from Channel Awesome, and let's just say the ending caught me off guard. I've never cried during an episode before, but I did at that one. And MisAnthroPony's response? That's emotional manipulation for ya.
There is a difference between criticism and using the death of somebody's mother to blatantly take a cheap potshot at somebody purely because you don't like them. Now look, I am not saying that the Nostalgia Critic should be absolved of any sort of criticism. After all, just look at the whole Change the Channel controversy. Doug was complicit in all of that shit, and he definitely deserved his fair share of criticism for the way former Channel Awesome producers were being treated. That being said, you shouldn't use the death of somebody's mother and dismiss it as emotional manipulation. That is such a slimy thing to do, and that says more about you than the person that you hate so much. Look, I understand that you despise the Nostalgia Critic, but even you have to agree that this tweet was going way too far. Then again, you came to your senses because you later deleted it, but since this is the internet, once you put something out there, it's pretty much out there forever, and somebody has already screen capped it. But hey, to be fair to him, this was a temporary lapse in judgment. He was in the heat of the moment, he clearly wasn't thinking straight, and he said something incredibly dumb and in incredibly poor taste. We've all been there. We all make mistakes. We're all human beings. At least he didn't make a joke about Joel Schumacher. I mean, no one would be dumb enough to do that, right? Right?
Joel Miller.
What? No, I'm not Joel Miller, I'm Joel Schumacher.
Get it? Spoiler alert, Joel dies in this game, and MisAnthroPony absolutely hates it. Joel Schumacher, who directed the infamously terrible Batman and Robin, also recently died, so it's supposed to be funny because instead of imagining that it's Joel Miller getting brutally beaten to death with a golf club, you can imagine it's Joel Schumacher. That's what makes it funny, right? Oh my dear Eric, I'm so sorry you had to sit through that. But hey, at least we can take solace in the fact that he's not attacking a poor girl for the mere crime of initially liking a movie that he doesn't like. A girl by the name of Lexi, aka Power Loud Girl, initially liked The Last Jedi, and she recently posted a channel update onto her channel. Now, as you probably all know, this channel update had nothing to do with The Last Jedi, but despite this, Map was so angry at Power Loud Girl initially liking The Last Jedi because, God forbid, somebody likes something that he doesn't like, that he decided to reply with this comment. At least I'm not a brain-dead moron who gleefully celebrates how Kathleen Kennedy turned Star Wars into a shitty movement for toxic feminist politics and acting like Rian Johnson created the next Citizen Kane. Holy shit. Like, dude, calm down. It's just a movie. It's not that serious. No piece of fictional entertainment is ever that serious. If a piece of fictional entertainment makes you so angry that you're willing to attack somebody who isn't even saying shit to you purely because they used to like a movie you don't like, then you need some serious help. And by serious help, I mean like actual therapy, because this is not something a rational human being would do. And it's disappointing because I know Map is capable of so much more than this. This is so incredibly toxic that it makes the Springfield power plant look jealous. Like, holy shit, this is insane. And all of this over a Star Wars movie. Like, Star Wars isn't a matter of life or death, it's just, again, it's a movie. You either like it or you don't like it. And don't get me wrong, I understand why a lot of people do not like The Last Jedi. Do not get me wrong, but at a certain point, you need to pull an Elsa and just let it go, because this ain't it, Chief. Like, there's no reason to do this shit. It just makes you look incredibly toxic, and it really just makes Star Wars fans look incredibly toxic. And it's disappointing, because you made a video about Star Wars fans bullying Kelly Marie Tran off the internet, and how you shouldn't go after the actors because they don't control how their characters are written. So then, why the hell were you going after somebody because they like something that you didn't like? I mean, I could say more to just to highlight how toxic this is, but at this point, I think you get the point, so I'm just gonna move on. To be fair to Map, he recently posted a statement on Twitter apologizing for his recent actions, and I'm going to read that to you right now. Please read to the end. I'm here to make a public apology. Recently, I've displayed some extremely rude and unprofessional behavior, and there was no excuse for it. This was unprovoked, exceedingly foolish, and it just makes me look really stupid. It was a waste of people's time and my own energy. I've given myself time to clear my head out, and I want people to know I'm doing this of my own accord. I'm very sorry that I acted like that, and I'm sorry to the people who were affected by it. I had nothing to gain from this, and it was not worth it. I know there are people who are going to say, "It's okay, dude," or "You'll get past this," but the truth is, recovering from this is a very slow process. I feel I need to take my time in order to properly process myself and get back on track. For those following my content, it may take a while. I need to be blunt. The Last of Us Part 2 has left me utterly depressed and empty. Until then, I hope you can take care of yourselves. Again, I'm sorry for my behavior, and I'm sorry to the people affected by it. It was not called for, and it was not in any way worth the stress. Remember to stay safe out there and stay in touch with loved ones. Thank you. Map, if you're watching this right now, I just want to let you know that I am glad that you came out and apologized for your recent actions, because at the end of the day, I don't think you're a bad person, and I certainly don't think you are beyond redemption. I hope you grow from this experience, and I hope you become a better person because of it, because I would hate to see you go down this route in the future. At the end of the day, a piece of fictional entertainment is never serious. That's just it. It's never serious, and it's certainly not an excuse to attack people who share a different opinion than you. It's just, if you want people to see your point of view, you can explain why something works or doesn't work, and if you're not a dick about it, people will at least understand where you're coming from, even if they don't agree with you. What I think we can learn from all of this is to simply be respectful of each other's opinions and not flip out any time somebody expresses a different opinion than ours. And I think we should also learn that fictional entertainment is never serious, and the worlds and characters that we get so invested in at the end of the day aren't real. It's okay to like something, and it's okay to dislike something, but it should never get to the point when you're attacking people who aren't doing anything to you purely because they have a different opinion. That's how the discourse surrounding certain things can become toxic and absolutely exhausting, and it just makes everyone look bad. So let's not try to do that in the future, but I know this is going to fall on deaf ears because it's the internet. It's the Wild West out here, and everybody's just going to do whatever the hell they want. Until next time, this is ThatKidDouglas, aka the Unhero, and remember to stay frosty and keep it weird.